So here we are on February 24th, recording live from California with a quick little office hours for members of the uke club. At this point, even though I'm talking and I've got a little lesson planned, remember the point here is to try to help you to answer your ukulele questions. So if you want to, you can click to jump into the open seat on the side of the screen. You can address me with a question by typing /Q, and I will see that if you prefer to type instead of writing. So the question, we've had a lot of chatter on the Facebook group recently about chord melodies, and it's absolutely one of my favorite ways to play ukulele. To me, my way of thinking, it's an old-fashioned sound. Let's see, like 5'2". There it is. So the idea is that, it's getting blurrier and blurrier. The idea of a chord melody is that you're playing the chord, which is the backing for the song. It's what drives the song along. And then on top of that, you're adding notes or full chords that provide the melody. Now, the melody, of course, is the part that you would sing or whistle. That's the tune of the song. So what we're trying to do is to provide both of those at the same time. If you have learned another instrument, usually the melody is isolated. On piano, I'm saying this as a non-piano player, so don't hold it against me if I'm not exactly right. On piano, one hand is playing the melody, and the other hand is playing a rhythmic accompaniment. If you play trumpet or something, you know, you're only playing the melody or harmony for somebody else. So on an instrument like this, we have the freedom of playing the chord 5'2", rise blue. But we can also add in the melody notes. So this is not the song that I'm showing you. I'm going to show you a less complicated song in a second. But you can hear 5'2". So there I'm just adding a melody note on top of the chord that you would normally be strumming. For that part of the song, I have to shift to a new version of the chord to get up to where the melody wants to be. So there's a couple of things that will help you as you try to figure out chord melodies. And the reason I say figure out chord melodies is that because there are some arrangements out there, there aren't very many. So odds are very good that you'll have to work out the chord arrangement for a song that you like as using some of these ideas. So rule one, and I say rule with that tone of voice because it's not really a rule, it's a consideration, is that you want the melody note to appear on string 1, and string 1 is closest to the floor. So it works in this example, 5'2". That's the melody note. 5'2". And it works just by coincidence. I'm holding an F chord. After telling you I wasn't going to focus on this, here I am focusing on it. And the melody note is the open A string. 5 fret, I add fret 3, and the melody is still on string 1. When I switch to the A chord, eyes of blue, the melody happens to still fall on string 1. You can play in any key. I've switched it over into F so that the melody falls on string 1. A chord, 4th fret. So that's an important concept. Is you try to switch it around so that you're playing in a key where the notes will mostly fall on string 1. Why? Because as you strum across the strings, string 1 is the one that's going to ring out. It's the last one you hit. It's also the highest pitched string, so the ear is going to detect it most readily. However, that said, once you start to make the changes, because the change is happening, regardless of which string it's on, the ear will pick that up. So let's move on to rule number 2. When notes are not on the first string, what do you do instead? Well, you stop let's see. Let's have an example. Let's say the note that we want is the F of the F chord. So F is string 2, fret 1, and it's the note that you're already covering when you play an F chord. So if that's the melody that you want to hit, instead of strumming all the way down across the strings, you only strum across to the point that there is the melody note you want to ring out. So I want that note to ring out, so when I strum across, I'm going to strum and stop there. I only go past string 2. I don't even go past string 1. Because the note I want is that one on string 2. Now, that calls for some precision strumming, and there are some other things you can do, like muting the first string and stuff, that we'll talk about in future lessons. But the basic idea is there. You just want to stop where the melody comes in. Now, rule number 3 that you want to bear in mind is that you've got to have some brains behind this operation. Who's the brains of this operation? See? In our uke club lessons, we talk on and on and on about the idea of movable chords. And in fact, I've talked more about it in our weekly sessions here than in the built-in uke club lessons, because I think movable chords is such a vital concept. And honestly, in the book version of the uke club lessons, they're skimmed over. They're given short shrift. So we've got some very recent of our office hours back recordings that you can check out for some ideas about movable chords. But once you start working out chord melodies, you've got to know different versions of the chords so that you can find the version of the chord that has the note, the melody note, higher up the neck. Let's actually work this through on an example now. Probably on a song that you don't know. This is an old blues song that I learned off the radio. And I recorded it off the radio on a big old reel-to-reel machine back in the day. So I don't even know what the song is. Is Jerry still here? Looks like you are. Jerry, this might be in your wheelhouse. So we'll do it in C. This is a good place to start because all the notes fall on the first string. Okay, and the frets involved are 7, 5, 3, and 1. And you hear how the other 3 strings of the C chord just sort of drone out. So you get something like, I'm trying to adjust my body here so I show up. So that's all around the C chord, and I'm just adding melody notes. Now, this is not a real typical rendition of what people think of when they think of a chord melody, but I think it's a good, clear example of how the process works. So, as you know, you can switch a song into any key, and the key just means the family of chords that you use to play the song. So you can pitch it up or pitch it down. Pam's here. Hi, Pam. So why did I choose to pitch it into C? Well, look at all those melody notes that I'm getting on string 1. If I started this song in F, I wouldn't be able to achieve the same thing nearly as easily. Now, this is a blues song, so using some of our other knowledge from previous workshops, we know that our 3 chords are C, E, F, and G or G7. So here's the first part again, just to help you sort of lock it into your mind. 7, I'm doing frets now. 7, 5, 3, and then down to C7 there. Here's the beginning on the key of, on the chord of C. Now, in a blues structure, we're going to go up to the F chord, but that's the melody note that we want. I could hold a standard F chord, and because the ukulele is small, I could reach up with my little finger and get that note that I want. But you know, I know you know, how to do a second or third position F chord. In this case, it's an F7 at fret 5. Very blurry. Sorry about the focus. Fret 5 has a dot under it. So this is our C7 shape moved up the neck. C, C sharp, D7, right? D sharp, or E flat, E7, and finally F7. So we're here in this position, and the melody note is string 1. So you see how slick that is? By knowing the next position of the chord, you can use a version of the chord that is more appropriate for getting the melody note to ring out. Instead of doing that great big reach and having to do some calisthenics, as you'll see in a second, you can just go right up here. All right, so as we go into the second chord of the song, here's the melody again. I'll play it for you and then talk it through. Back to C. So, checking for questions. Looks like everybody's doing okay. So what's happening here is kind of neat. I was going to save this trick for next week. You can see over into the side, I actually gave you a link out to a YouTube video of a Shirley Temple song, which is what I had intended for us to work on today. But at the last minute, I decided to do this blues song instead. And what I like about this is we're getting melody on string 1. So that's what the melody's doing. Da, da. But the other note that we need is up here on string 4. And this is almost never mentioned in the books. This is a red hot tip for you. You can get your melody just as easily on string 4 as you can on string 1. And because of the chord shape, it's a different note. So see if you can focus on my hand as I do that strum around the F7 chord. I'm holding F7 here. And there's the melody note. String 4. Does that make sense? Give me the big hands. I'm getting a few big hands, or big heads anyway, from Barry. All right, so that's the F7 shape, the melody on string, good, thank you guys. Melody on string 1, closest to the floor, but also string 4, closest to the ceiling. Really, squirrel that away in the back of your brain, because it's like a secret weapon that you just forget is there, but it's there. All right, let me play it up to that point. Since I don't have music for you, this is a song that I'm just pulling out of my head from years ago, public radio in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Coming in on the C, fret 5. Nope, fret 7. Step 1, shift up to F7. Back to C. So I hope that you can hear and understand that if I'm keeping the strumming going, which is what gives the song its drive, while I'm still applying the melody on top. The melody would just be now. That's good to be able to hear it and know what it is, but I think you'd agree that it's much more interesting to have the strumming going on at the same time. Now let me show you the final step on chord 3, the G chord, and we'll leave it at that. Once again, we've had some folks joining in, so I'm absolutely happy to take questions, either typed in, or if you want to come on screen with me, we'll pretend we're on a talk show together. So here we are. Remember, we were at F7 at fret 5. If we keep sliding up the neck, we're going to get to the G chord that we need, the 3rd chord of our blues progression. So F has the dot under it. We're going to shift up F to F sharp. We're in the 7th position now. So that's F7, F sharp 7, G7. Again, there's a dot there. So G7 happens to be at fret 7, all right? Don't confuse those terms. They just happen to sound similar. All right. So in this, I told you before that this shape is your C7 moved up the neck. okay? All the way up to fret 7. That's a G7. Test it. Yep, same as good old G7 that you know. But for this part of the melody, we need a G major. So if we were moving a 7th shape up, now let's move the major shape up, the C major shape, okay? So it's going to go up to the same fret, fret 7. I won't count it out. Just trust me. That's G major. So fret 7, skip 2. And then our melody comes in. I got to play it through. There it is. Let me play it for you one more time, just the melody. That time I got it right. Resolving on C. Thanks, Jerry. Jerry says it's very cool, and some people are saying blocked and not good, but I don't think they're members of our secret club, so that's all right. I can take it. Oh, wait, Millip is here. Good, catch the recorded version. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure why you would be blocked. That's got to be on your end, because some people are getting it, and obviously it's going out from here, from production headquarters in beautiful San Francisco. Okay. Good. I'm glad everybody's getting it. I'm misattributing my quotes, but as long as it's complimentary, I don't mind. All right, so the final bit is up to G at fret 7. And again, we're going to use the strategy of string 1 and string 4 for melody. And we end on C. Okay, so let me play it through slowly for you so you can sort of get the tune that we're shooting for in your mind. But you know what? In the tradition of folk music and blues music, you don't have to get it exactly right. You just have to get something akin to it. You know, the point here is for you to learn the concept behind it, not necessarily to learn this exact song. So coming in, fret 7. Okay, here we go. Up to F. So two things to notice there. Getting string 1 and string 4. And because I'm moving around, I want the double strength of 2 fingers pressing down for the bar. You don't have to do that. I needed it. Home to C. Now up to G. Whoops, I got caught on the strings. And that's it. C, F, and G. Movable chord positions, melody on string 1, melody on string 4, and jump around a lot. Chuck Berry has a great quote where he says something like, play it different every time. If you can't play it different, then wiggle. So I think I played it differently each time, and if I had to play it again, I'd probably do the wiggle. So let me leave it right there. I don't want to run over long. I want to appreciate your time. We're on time zones from around the world, which is very exciting. Very gratifying to be able to do this wherever I go, and to have some of you guys still able to tune in for ukulele fun. So let's see, what's the little thing you're doing between the chord shifts? Barry, it's kind of changing, but I'm adding some fill notes. So it's that 7-5-3 again on string 1. When I come out of the F, I'm back to the C. I think that's the fill you're talking about. So I'm just using those same familiar positions, that I was using for melody around the C. 7, 5, 3. Yeah, good. You could use that as a little vamp for an introduction to the song too. I actually do remember some of the words. It's a bad singing key from me. When a man gets blue, when a man gets blue, takes a train and rides. When a man gets blue, he takes a train and rides. When a woman gets blue, she hangs her little head and cries. So, you know, typical blues song stuff. So I am going to leave it right there. A ton of information for you to ingest, digest, and fool around with. And I think next time we get together for this, I will work on the Shirley Temple song, about as far away from a blues song as you could get, that covers some of this material sort of from a different angle and gets us into playing melody on different strings of the ukulele too, which is also a valuable skill. So I don't want to leave anybody hanging. If you got any questions, I'll be here for a minute. I'm actually going to turn off the recording now, so we'll feel like the heat is off. For those of you tuning in to the replay, thank you.